My wife decided to divorce me for the man she never got over, who was about to return to the country. The twist? When she went to find him, she found him in my arms. Watching my ex-wife run off, her hand clapped over her mouth in shock, it finally dawned on me. We had the same one that got away. The city lights were just beginning to glitter against the evening sky. I finished up my work for the day and pushed open the familiar door to my apartment. "Honey, welcome home." A soft, smiling voice greeted me. I looked up, momentarily stunned. My wife, Hannah Thompson, was standing at the end of the entryway. She wore an evening gown that outlined a nearly perfect figure, and her light makeup only accentuated her captivating beauty. Behind her, the soft glow of candles flickered over a dinner still steaming on the table. I stared at the scene, bewildered. "Hannah, what's all this?" It was a fair question. Hannah and I had been married for 7 years. I remember our early days, passionate and intense, but over time, even the most fervent love cools to a quiet simmer. Though we still loved each other deeply, our romance had long since settled into the comfortable, stable bond of family. Our days were filled with mutual support and conversations about daily life. A scene like this, something out of our first year of dating, hadn't happened in a long, long time. Seeing me frozen in place, a slight curve touched Hannah's lips. She walked over, smoothly taking the suit jacket from my arm. In the candlelight, her fair skin glowed like warm jade. "Nothing special," she said, her voice gentle. "I just felt like it's been too long since we had a proper dinner together. All right, go wash up. The food's getting cold." I didn't suspect a thing. I quickly washed my hands and sat down at the table. As we savored the delicious food, we reminisced about the funny stories from when we were dating, something we hadn't done in years. She even opened an expensive bottle of red wine, and as we grew slightly tipsy, the atmosphere turned intimate. Looking at my impossibly beautiful wife, I wrapped an arm around her waist, my hand starting to wander. Hannah's body tensed for a moment, but then a flicker of guilt crossed her eyes, and she leaned into my embrace. The lights in the living room stayed on late into the night. The next morning, my internal clock woke me from a pleasant dream. But when I opened my eyes, I found my wife, who usually loved to sleep in, sitting ramrod straight in front of me. Meeting her determined gaze, my heart sank. Recalling how unusual last night was, a sense of foreboding washed over me. "Annie, Liam, actually," she cut me off, taking a deep breath. Her voice was low. "I prepared all that last night because there was something I needed to say to you. We've been married for 7 years," she began slowly. "You've been so good to me, a responsible and flawless husband. I used to treasure this stability. But some things, you can fool others, but you can't fool yourself. The day before yesterday, I heard he was coming back to the country, and I realized I've never gotten over him. I know I'm being selfish, and I'm so sorry, but I don't want to live with regrets. I want to pursue my true love." As if it took all her strength, she lowered her head. "Let's get a divorce. I'll walk away from my share of the assets." I stared at my wife, silent for a long time. Just yesterday, I was picturing us growing old together, leaning on each other in our final years. Who knew that today, the person who had slept beside me for 7 years would be asking for a divorce? Love is precious because it's so rare. In all my years at the company, I'd seen countless business partners who acted like a loving couple in public while secretly having whole other families on the side. I just never thought something like this would happen to me. Knowing I couldn't change her mind, I sighed in resignation. You can't force someone to stay if they don't want to. Since you're no longer interested, let's get a divorce. With that, I picked up the divorce agreement from the nightstand and signed my name. Hannah froze. She clearly hadn't expected me to be so decisive. The dramatic tears, angry accusations, or desperate pleas she had anticipated never came. As she watched me gently push the signed agreement toward her, her expression became complex and unreadable. In her mind, she should have felt a profound sense of relief and joy, free from the shackles of this marriage, able to pursue the man of her dreams without reservation. But for some reason, all she felt now was a hollow emptiness, an indescribable melancholy. Her lips parted as if to say something, but no words came out. In the end, she snatched the divorce papers with a clumsy motion and hurried away. With one less person, the apartment felt vast and empty. I lay back on the bed, feeling a little down as I scrolled through my phone. It would be a lie to say it didn't hurt. 7 years of living together, countless days and nights of companionship. Even two strangers would develop a bond. Not to mention, we had once been in love. Suddenly, a direct message popped up on my screen. "Alex Vance, yo, divorced?" Attached to the message was a screenshot of a status update Hannah had just posted. The picture was of the divorce agreement. Alex Vance, a friend from high school. Back then, she was the one who always gathered me and a few others to hang out. With her bold and straightforward personality, she was the undisputed leader of our group. Hannah met her when she came to hang out with me, and she was quickly drawn in by Alex's unique charisma, becoming another member of her crew. Unfortunately, after just 1 year, Alex's family moved overseas for her studies, and she never came back. But we stayed in touch, constantly chatting online and calling every now and then, so we never lost contact. Seeing the message, a wry smile touched my lips. Come on, Alex, don't kick a man when he's down, okay? I'm feeling a little fragile. Alex Vance. Never thought you were the sentimental type, Carter. I figured you were the one who got caught cheating, and our dear Hannah kicked you to the curb in a fit of righteous anger. I immediately typed back, as if, Hannah's got you looking out for her. You could give me 10 times the nerve, and I still wouldn't dare cheat. After I sent the message, there was a moment of silence from her end. It took a while before a new message appeared. Alex Vance. All right, stop whining like a jilted lover. It's not worth it. Not for a woman who has someone else in her heart. Alex Vance. Out with the old, in with the new. Just think of it as getting out early. There's something better waiting for you up ahead. Reading her words of comfort, the knot of frustration in my chest inexplicably loosened. She was right. Wasting my energy feeling sorry for myself over an ex-wife whose heart had long since moved on was pointless. Alex Vance. Speaking of which, I wanted to let you know. Alex Vance. My flight back lands this Wednesday. What do you say, mister? Big shot? Got time to welcome your big sis back? We haven't seen each other in years. Don't tell me you've forgotten me. Wednesday? I glanced at the calendar. My schedule was clear. I just hadn't expected her to suddenly decide to come back at a time like this. You give the order. How could I refuse? I replied instantly. Send me the flight number. I'll be there on time, guaranteed. On the day of her arrival, I made sure to get to the international airport a little early. When Alex Vance emerged from the crowd, pushing a luggage cart, I almost didn't recognize her. I remembered her in high school, standing at a striking 5'10", taller than all of us. More than that, she had sharp, handsome features and was a phenomenal basketball player, the picture of dashing and heroic. If she hadn't been a girl, she would have been the undisputed king of the school. Now, the brashness was gone, replaced by a softer line in her face. She wore a sharp, khaki trench coat that made her look tall and poised, her slightly curled long hair draped casually over her shoulders. She was a striking androgynous beauty. Her powerful presence turned heads all around her. I was in disbelief. I tentatively called out, Alex? Alex Vance looked over at the sound of my voice. After looking me up and down, a smirk played on her lips. Well, you haven't changed much after all these years, Carter. Still got that easy to bully look about you. I walked up and took her luggage. Careful, Alex, I teased. Starlight City is my turf. Underestimate the locals, and you might just get into trouble. On the way back, we chatted about trivial updates, mostly her talking about her life abroad and me listening. The atmosphere was light and natural. By the time I pulled up to the hotel she'd booked, we had already fallen back into our old, easy rhythm. After getting her settled, I was about to say goodbye when Alex stopped me. Liam. She leaned against the doorframe, a playful glint in her eyes. Your big sis found you a date. They're waiting right now. Want to meet them? A date? I was dumbfounded. Although our afternoon of conversation had chased away the gloom from my divorce, this sudden announcement caught me completely off guard. But hearing that the person was already waiting, I couldn't really refuse. All right, Alex. Just promise you're not setting me up for disaster. Relax. It's definitely someone worthy of a diamond bachelor like you. A strange light flickered in Alex's eyes as she grabbed my arm and pulled me downstairs. When we got to the restaurant, she picked up the menu and started ordering right away. I looked at her, surprised. Alex, isn't it a little rude to order before your guest arrives? Alex said, still focused on the menu. What do you mean? They're already here, sitting right across from you. What? Looking at Alex's teasing smile, I was completely lost. Alex, you. What? Cut out your tongue. Alex tilted her head slightly. My family's been on my case lately. I'm tired of dealing with all the blind dates they set up. She picked up her water glass, her fingertips tracing the side as she spoke casually. We've known each other for years. We know each other inside and out, and you're a free man now. So what do you say? Want to give it a shot? Staring at the beautiful, confident woman before me, I was at a loss for words. To be honest, Hannah had her one that got away, but didn't I have one too? If it hadn't been for Alex dragging my more introverted high school self on all those adventures, I never would have developed the personality I have today or achieved the success I've had in my career. To say I didn't have feelings for Alex would be lying to myself. But I also understood that sometimes the best isn't always what's most suitable. Maybe some people are meant to be admired from afar, like the moon in the sky, a beautiful memory in your heart that you can look up to once in a while. That was enough. So, I chose to be practical, and I always thought of Alex as an older sister. In my 7 years of marriage to Hannah, I had poured nearly all my energy into my family and career and hadn't given it another thought. Who knew that right after my divorce, my own one that got away would come straight to me? What, you're saying no? Alex put down the menu, crossed her arms, and stared right at me. No, it's just... I cleared my throat. Alex, this is so sudden. That's life. Nothing ever waits for you to be perfectly ready before it happens. A faint blush rose on Alex's cheeks. Don't think I didn't know. Back when they were voting for homecoming queen, Mike and the guys all came to me, begging me to vote for Hannah. You were the only one who voted for me. It was an anonymous vote back then, but it was an unspoken rule that everyone would secretly vote for the person they had a crush on. At the time, a lot of the people in Alex's circle saw her as their leader. Not only did they not vote for her, but they tried to rally votes for their own crushes. I was the only one who quietly cast a vote for Alex, and I never thought she'd found out. My little secret from all those years ago being exposed, I felt my toes curl in embarrassment. Seeing my obvious reaction to that old memory, Alex became even more certain. She pressed her advantage. And what do you think happened when I heard you got married? Why do you think I canceled my trip home? Why do you think I've been single all this time, at my age, without even being in a serious relationship? Liam, I know you just got divorced, and you might not be ready for another relationship so soon, but that's okay. I can wait for you. Consider this dinner my reservation. If you dare go looking for another woman before me, well, you'll see. That near-direct confession shattered the lock on my heart. Looking at the beautiful woman before me, her bossiness mixed with a shy vulnerability, and then thinking of Hannah's determined back as she walked away, a surge of courage washed over me. If Hannah could leave me so decisively, was I just going to sit around moping over her? Alex had waited so many years, even swallowing her pride to say this to me. Was I really going to make her wait any longer? You like me, I like you. What's so complicated about getting together? Okay, once I figured that out, the weight on my chest seemed to vanish. I lifted my head and said firmly, Alex, let's be together. Alex blinked, then a brilliant smile bloomed on her face. Now, that's more like it. As our eyes met, the atmosphere grew subtle and charged. The adrenaline from my impulsive words was still pumping through me. At some point, we had moved closer, so close I could see the flawless texture of her skin and feel the warmth of her breath. As if possessed, I lowered my head, tentatively leaning in. She didn't pull away. Instead, she met me halfway, just as we were about to express everything we felt for each other. Crash! The sharp, ear-splitting sound of shattering glass exploded beside us. The sudden interruption yanked us out of our romantic bubble. A flash of annoyance crossed Alex's eyes. I was just as irritated at having the moment ruined. For a place that billed itself as Starlight City's best date spot, the service was seriously lacking. I turned my head, annoyed, and saw a figure frozen in the doorway of our private room. Her hand were clamped over her mouth, her eyes fixed on us, filled with utter disbelief. At her feet lay the shattered remains of a decorative glass vase, shards and water strewn across the floor. Just as I was about to demand an explanation, I saw the person's face and froze. It was my newly divorced ex-wife, Hannah. Hannah! I instinctively glanced behind her, but I didn't see the man she had described as the love of her life. If they weren't together yet, what was she doing here? And how did she end up opening the door to this specific room? Hannah didn't answer. She just spun around without a word and fled, looking completely undone. Watching her go, I was completely baffled. As far as I was concerned, Hannah and I had an amicable split. Even if we couldn't be husband and wife, after 7 years together, couldn't we at least be civil? I had no idea even seeing me would be so unbearable for her. Alex saw it all. She reached out and pinched the soft flesh of my side, her tone dripping with mock jealousy. Well, Liam, it's only been a few days, and you're already tangled up with your ex. You even had her chase you all the way here. What's the matter? Feeling sorry for your old flame now that she's heartbroken? I swear on my life. I immediately raised my hands in surrender. It's really completely over between us. Today was a total coincidence. I have no idea why she was here. Alex, you have to know who's in my heart right now, don't you? I gently took her hand, which she hadn't fully lowered, and looked at her with deep affection. From the moment you said those words to me, my plans for the future have only one name in them: Alex Vance. Alex looked into my sincere eyes, and the jealousy on her face gradually faded. I guess you wouldn't dare, she huffed, letting me hold her hand, but the corner of her mouth quirked up in a small smile. After that little interruption, we sat back down. The atmosphere wasn't as intense as before, but it was replaced by a sense of stability that came with defining our relationship. The dishes we'd ordered began to arrive, and as we ate, we talked about our plans for the future, determined to make up for all the years we had missed. Just as we were finishing dinner, Alex's phone screen lit up. It's a call from Hannah. She glanced at the caller ID, an eyebrow raised. Then she looked up at me, a playful smile on her lips. Liam, you know whose side you're on, right? I immediately straightened up. Is that even a question? My wife's, of course. Always. Satisfied, Alex answered the call and put it on speaker. Hello, Hannah. It's me. There was a second of silence before Hannah's nervous voice came through the phone. Alex, you and Liam. That's right. I'm planning on being with him, Alex said frankly. Didn't you two get a divorce? But, Hannah was stunned by her matter-of-fact tone, her voice cracking with desperation. Alex, I know things are more open-minded overseas, but here, for two men to do this is still so bold. I know it's wrong to be prejudiced, but I really like you. I have for a long time. I hope you could give me a chance, okay? We both said at the same time. Listening to the words coming from the phone, both Alex and I were completely floored. Especially Alex. She'd been confessed to by plenty of women when she was abroad. She thought coming back home would mean a more traditional environment, but hearing Hannah, it sounded like the rest of the world was behind the times. Liam, Alex looked at me, utterly shocked, and whispered, have I been gone too long? Am I out of touch? Is it the straight couples who are the weird ones now? No way. I shot back, and then it hit me. Hannah had divorced me for the idealized love of her life. And now, she was on the phone, pouring her heart out to Alex. Could Hannah's one that got away be Alex? The realization clearly dawned on Alex too, but she couldn't quite believe it. She quickly spoke into the phone, seeking confirmation. Hannah, Liam told me you had someone you never got over. Was that person me? Yes. Hannah threw caution to the wind and laid it all bare. Alex, ever since that time in high school, when I twisted my ankle and you carried me on your back for 2 miles to get me home, I've never been able to forget you. When you went abroad, I was devastated for so long. Alex, I love you. I really, really love you. Stop. Alex's skin was crawling. She quickly cut her off. Hannah, I think you've misunderstood something. I'm a woman. I'm your friend Alex. Listen to my voice. Oh, right? I'm sending you a picture of myself in a dress. Just send it. Did you get it? As soon as she said that, the other end of the line went dead silent. Through the phone, I could practically picture Hannah's pupils constricting, her entire worldview crumbling around her. After a long pause, Hannah's trembling voice finally came through. Alex, how can you be a woman? That's impossible. It's absolutely impossible. Alex's mouth twitched. Hannah, I was just a little flat-chested back then. No, impossible. You're lying. You have to be lying to me. Her voice suddenly shot up. You were so handsome, so charming. You were so good at taking care of people. You were always the perfect husband in my mind. How could you be a woman? What am I supposed to do now? All those years I spent thinking about you. I divorced him for you. What was it all for? What in the hell was it all for? Hysterical sobs echoed from the phone, and then the call was abruptly disconnected. Listening to the dial tone, Alex and I just stared at each other. A strange silence descended upon the private room. I couldn't believe I'd been married to a woman for 7 years who left me for another woman. And Alex couldn't believe she was the unwitting catalyst for us getting together. I rubbed my forehead, speechless. They say idealization is the farthest distance from understanding, but I never, ever imagined Hannah could even get your gender wrong. And for so many years. Alex, you really do have a way with men and women. Alex rolled her eyes. Don't be a smartass. I had no idea either. How on earth could she have gotten that wrong? Although, Alex mused, judging by the way she loves me, she probably doesn't know the first thing about me. Even if we had gotten together, that perfect image she has of me would have shattered within a day. She isn't in love with me. She's in love with the constantly embellished shadow in her own mind. That makes sense, I nodded. You only moved abroad. You didn't cease to exist. If she had just messaged you a few times over the years, she wouldn't have made a mistake like this. Well, Alex said, how she deals with this now is her problem. I reached out, my fingers lacing with hers, and we shared a smile. After a whirlwind 2 weeks of planning, my wedding with Alex was officially on the calendar. I booked the ballroom at the most luxurious hotel in Starlight City and personally supervised the preparations after work every day. I was determined to give Alex a wedding she would remember for a lifetime, to make up for all the years we had lost. It was around 11 at night when I got home. As I approached the door to my apartment, however, I stopped in my tracks. In the dim light of the hallway, a familiar figure was crouched in front of my door. It was Hannah. She had clearly been waiting for a long time. Her face was pale from the cold, and she looked utterly pitiful. The moment she saw me, she stumbled to her feet. "Liam, you're finally back. I was wrong. I really know I was wrong." She choked out, her words jumbled. Can we get back together? Can we just pretend none of that ever happened, please? The truth is, I can't let you go. Asking for a divorce was just a moment of madness. I regret it, Liam. I regret it so much. As she spoke, she reached for my hand. I immediately pulled away, my voice cold. Hannah, we're divorced. Please have some self-respect. No, don't. Please, Liam. Hannah's emotions flared, her voice turning shrill. What am I going to do without you? You still have feelings for me. I know you do. You used to love me so much. I don't believe you could just let it go. You're just angry with me, right? I'm sorry. I'll find a way to make it up to you. Can we get remarried, please? Just then, the apartment door opened and Alex stepped out. Dressed in comfortable loungewear, she walked straight to my side, looped her arm through mine, and made no effort to hide her possessiveness. Only then did she turn her gaze to the frozen Hannah, her tone carrying a faint warning. Hannah, you're not a child anymore. Adults have to be responsible for their own choices. Since you were the one who chose to end the marriage, please don't come here and disturb our lives now. After she spoke, she gave Hannah no further chance to reply, turning to me with a soft voice. Liam, it's cold out here. Let's go inside. I nodded and issued a final dismissal to Hannah. It's time for you to go. I don't want to say things I'll regret. If you keep this up, we won't even be able to be strangers. With that, I turned, walked into our home, and shut the door firmly behind me. Staring at the door of the home that was once so familiar, now closed to her, Hannah could no longer hold back. Fat tears rolled down her cheeks, filled with endless regret. She stumbled away into the cold night wind, a desolate and lonely figure. Alex watched her leave, then turned back to me, her eyes dark. Liam, don't you dare let that pathetic act fool you again. You hear me? I smiled helplessly and wrapped an arm around her waist. Relax. I'm not that stupid. After all, this time she mistook the one that got away for someone else. What if next time some handsome young guy comes along? I finally realized I was standing at the edge of a cliff. Why would I jump back in? Especially when I have a wife who loves me so much waiting right here. Hearing that, Alex finally nodded in satisfaction. The next moment, her leg, clad in black stockings, pressed against my hip. That's my good Liam. You get a reward tonight. Alex's fiercely beautiful face leaned in close. I knew instantly that the lights weren't getting turned off tonight. Not long after, Alex and I held our wedding. Many of our old high school classmates came to celebrate with us. To my surprise, Hannah came too. She looked dazed, her eyes darting toward me from time to time, before she would clutch her stomach, as if in pain. In the end, though, she didn't say a word and left before the reception was over. I didn't pay the small interruption much mind. The next time I saw Hannah was more than a decade later. I was out shopping with Alex and our 8-year-old son. We happened to run into Hannah, who was also buying clothes. She looked much more mature and had a teenage girl with her who was clearly well cared for. Upon seeing us, Hannah's expression stiffened, and she quickly hurried away with her child. Seeing that Hannah had a family and a child of her own, I couldn't help but feel a sense of closure. Everyone makes mistakes in their life. The important thing is to be able to move on